on Sunday, and I had to be back by Friday. So
she got to fly back.
Yeah, she got to stay a few extra days and only spend a few hours in a seat rather than the 15 and a half. So
is it just the two of us so far? I know I
no,
see more now.
There's everybody.
Good.
We're just waiting. Annette's the only one. And Jason Felt looks like he has Christmas lights up.
Thought it add a little spirit to the meeting. And my wife put those up, I don't know how many months ago, and we just never took them down. So
that's okay.
You're just ahead of the game, right?
planning ahead. I guess you consider getting behind long enough puts you ahead when you're talking about next Christmas.
Okay, Jace, you do have a quorum.
Okay. 6 o'clock, so I guess we get started then. This is, everybody welcome. This is the July 14th, 2020 Planning Commission meeting. It is 6 p.m. And due to our technical capabilities, we will bypass the pledge again. We'll move to agenda item number 1, which would be a declaration of conflicts. Do any commissioners have any conflicts they need to declare at this time?
No.
No.
Okay, there being none, we'll move to agenda item number 2, which would be a public hearing to consider a request to amend the zoning map from R110 single family residential to R17 single family residential for the property located approximately 4712 South, 4300 West. I would ask that any public comments that we have to be concerning this property, since that's what this public hearing is for. Steve, do we have any information on this? Or do
We do. What I'll do is I'll switch it over so Mr. Nguyen, the applicant, can talk and present.
Can everybody hear me?
There he goes.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
So I'm Scott Nguyen with Windruff Construction.
Uh-oh, there you go. I switched you over, Scott, and then
He's muted.
muted.
Okay. Can everybody hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So Scott Nguyen, Windruff Construction. I'm a patio home builder based out of Weber County. And I'm just looking to rezone this from 110 to 17 to accommodate some smaller lots for some retirees and seniors that prefer that for the size of lots for our patio homes that we built. I don't know if you want me to.
Whatever you'd like to do to present your project for them to understand it.
So I've got, looks like my screen sharing is not available.
Well, we'll just do this right now.
There we go. I've got it now here. I've got a little, just a small slideshow here that I put together of just kind of what we do. These are my patio homes here. You know, they're all brick, you know, custom built patio homes. We custom build them for each customer. Let me see if I can get this to go here. So just a few pictures on what we do. And then I've just got a rough sketch plan of kind of roughly what we're planning on. You know, this is again just a kind of a rough sketch, but you know, that's basically how we see it laying out. So.
Okay, is there any other details you would care to share with us about it?
You know, for the reason that's about it. So.
Okay, well, thank you. Steve, is it time then?
I'll kind of talk a little bit.
Okay, Steve.
Again, as mentioned, this is a public hearing to consider the change from R110 to R17, single family all around in both cases. The property is just kind of in the northwest corner of the streets, just across the street from, I believe it's an elementary school.
Mhm.
Hi. Anyway, to the east of the property, the zoning is R17. The general plan has this area to be medium density residential, which R17 is also defined as. So staff would look or would recommend that the planning commission forward a recommendation to the city council for approval of this based on both the general plan having medium density and that the zone R17 is contiguous to this property. Any questions? Okay,
Doesn't sound like it.
seeing none, then I turn it back over to you, Jace.
Okay, we will go ahead and look for a motion to go into public hearing.
I move that we go into public hearing on this matter.
We have a
I
move.
second.
All in favor?
Oops, sorry, I was too fast.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we are now in public hearing.
Chair, the gentleman that had signed up to speak on this item is not logged in yet. So apparently there's no one to talk about it.
Okay, Steve, maybe we'll postpone this one and see if he's able to get on by the end of the meeting here. Could we possibly move this to lower in the agenda?
You have that ability.
So I'll make a motion that we table this until the end of the meeting to give that person a chance to log in, and then we can hear their input if they log in. If not, then we can make our decision.
Okay, it's fine.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the item is moved to the end of the
Scott,
meeting.
we'll bring you back on in a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so it looks like agenda item number 3 is withdrawn.
Yes.
So, okay, we'll move to administrative items, which is agenda item number 4, which would be to consider request for site plan and architectural approval for the Roy Assisted Living Center located at approximately 4850 South Midland Drive. Steve?
Let me bring on Chris McCandles. He is the applicant. And then I will make it so he can share his screen as well. Chris, can you hear us?
Mute and put a video on. There we go.
Hey,
How are you today?
we're good.
So we've got a short slide presentation that I emailed to you earlier, Steve. Am I able to share my screen?
You should be. You are now a co-host, so.
No. You got to go enable me. I'm disabled.
Oh, I made Taurus the co-host. Man,
Okay,
hold on. There we go.
I'll try it. There we go. I think to start out with, I'm gonna turn a little bit of time over to Steve Smith, who represents the property owner, as well as ourselves, and he'll do introductions and take the first couple of slides.
Hi, appreciate the opportunity to be before you this evening. Just have a couple things.
So what was your, can you state your name and address?
Sure. Steve Smith, 1549 Chalazan Circle, Sandy, Utah, 84092.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
You may recall, we were before the Planning Commission with another proposal late last fall. That proposal was for townhouses, which the Planning Commission approved, but the project required a down zone, which the City Council was unwilling to approve. And so we went back to the drawing board and we've come with this. Just a little background in history. MMC Investments is the former property owner. We have been working with this property for about 15 years. Did an assemblage of about 8 or 10 different parcels, and over the years have tried to develop it according to the community commercial standard that Roy had for that property. One of the challenges that we had was somewhat self-imposed because we wanted to develop the whole property at once. We didn't want to develop piecemeal. We'd had experience with some other property in St. George where we had an anchor or a subsidiary tenant come in and build around that, and then it was very difficult to build out the rest of the project with compatible uses. And so once we had this, we decided we were going to develop all at once or not at all, and we weren't going to sell it off unless we had a clear development plan for the remaining portion of the property when we sold it off. And so that's where we are now. As you can see in this slide, just reading down through some of the uses that we had tried to gain attention and interest on the property for, but ultimately we had not been able to do that. So as you are aware, we split the property last year and we sold the north part to Weber School Development, and they're building their charter school on the north part of the property. And we have partnered with CW Management Corporation to develop the south half of the property. And this slide has just some information about CW Management. They've been in business since '77, doing an awful lot of real estate. Both of the principals are native Utahns, Chris McCandless and Wayne Niederhauser. And Chris and I have had a personal relationship now for about 12 years or so, 14, and we're very comfortable with each other as partners, I think. And just some of the things that made us go with CW versus some others who might have pitched to us is that they do have a history of dealing with, I won't say problem properties, but certainly properties that have challenges either through what's permitted on the property or siting issues and dealing with long entitlement periods and development periods. And so we felt very comfortable that they were the partner to be with because they would be in for the ride and not just looking for a quick turnaround with whatever they could slap on the property that may not be good for us, it may not be good for the city, may not be good for the property. So with that introduction, I'm going to turn you to Chris, and he's going to walk us through the project.
So as you guys know, I'm Chris McCandless, CW Management Corporation, 9071 South, 1300 West, Suite 100, West Jordan, City, Utah, 84088. We sold that property, as mentioned, to Sheldon Kilpack. And I think if you guys have been down there and toured the site, it looks great. They did a phenomenal job. We've known Sheldon and a variety of different levels for a very long period of time. He's here with us tonight so that if you have questions as it relates to the school, but we are in discussions with Sheldon to talk about having them come in as a third party as part of this project in the future. But we're pleased with what they've done and how they've performed for us on the school. And I expect that they're going to be opening that school this fall, I'm sure with some COVID-19 restrictions, of course. That's the rendering that was presented to you before they started construction. I'm pleased to say it looks better than the rendering. A lot of times renderings don't look as good as the end product, and I think in this case it looks better. Our housing, the assisted care facility that we're proposing to you, I know you've got a copy of our proposal, so I'll keep this short. I'm certain you've all taken a look at it. We're just using the permitted uses afforded to us in the existing zone. And we think it's an extraordinarily good-looking building, but one of our big priorities is to make sure that we try to offer a little more affordable product. And we try to offer a product to people who aren't completely unable to take care of themselves. And so we think that having, me personally, having taken care of all four of my parents, watch them progress, this is going to be a really neat option for them so that they don't feel like they're in jail. And sometimes that's what these folks feel like when they're in those levels. But the project services and amenities are just like what you would expect to find in an assisted care facility. The building itself is being built in two parts, not necessarily by choice. We've got this giant sewer line that runs right through the property. Can you see my cursor as I'm moving it around the screen?
Yes.
There's a big sewer line right there. We actually tried to bridge it. We tried to sleeve it. We wanted to just do one building, but unfortunately the sewer district's saying no. And so we've built a patio between the two buildings and built two structures, and that's how it's designed. And that's the reason for that split. Have an access off of the road here. One of the comments has been this seems to be a little narrow. We're more than amenable to allowing it to be widened up as long as the staff and it works for us as well. There's a couple of issues. One of the issues was this dumpster, which we're relocating. We have plenty of parking, and so we're relocating it. It'll take up 5 or 6 parking stalls from what my engineer said today. There was a couple of other issues. The main core of the two buildings is right here. This is the first floor, which is activity rooms, or excuse me, this is the first floor, dining, services, resident services. It's served by elevators and stairs built to code. We anticipate this to be a steel structure, not wood frame. And then on the second level of the primary building, there's entertainment areas, and this is open to below, so it'll give it a really nice feel to it. This room over here we've put in because we do have two buildings instead of one. The services will move from one building to the next so that these residents don't have to go outside in order to get those type of services. Building is made based upon the color board. This is the southern exposure of the main entrance area. This is the northern exposure that's looking at the school that's just been built. Our colors and our materials boards, I think it's extraordinarily well thought out. Our architect is Beecher Walker. They've done products in your area before and feel very comfortable with this as soon as we get started. Some of the DRC comments, there was 3 questions. First, in your approval, the recommended approval by staff, it says that we need to work with them, of course, to resolve some of the minor issues associated with the project. Just so that you know, we are willing to do that, of course. One of the things that they had in there, that there was a 35-foot level that needs to be designed to the pitch of the roof. And the code, and Steve actually talked about this. We sent him a question because we read the code as to the mid-roof line, and that's how we've designed it. And your code actually states mid-roof line. Emergency fire access, something we did not anticipate. So one of the reasons we had Mr. Kilpack here from the school is they've given us a letter granting us a fire access on the north side of our property, their south side. They've built a road and a fire access road to accommodate the approvals that you guys gave them last year. And they're willing to allow us to use that for that fire access as well. Infrastructure, it's pretty much all on site, which is exciting because it's a pain to have to go a half a mile away to bring sewer or water to it. And so for me, I'm actually looking forward to this because I don't have to mess up your roads. You know, we'll still have to tie in, of course. And I think that's all we say tonight. Unless you have questions, we'd be glad to answer them. We have all three of us here. Thank you. That's probably the shortest presentation I've ever made in about 30 years of doing this.
Okay, thank you for that presentation. Any commissioners have any questions?
So what is the ultimate distance between the parking and the back of the neighborhoods? I know the code requires at least 10 feet. What are you looking at there?
So one of the issues that was on the DRC is that we needed to make sure we were in compliance with that, Ryan. And, oops, I got screens. I don't know if I'm still being heard.
You are.
And so we think there's some tweaking that needs to be done on the site plan, and we'll be glad to do that to make sure we're in compliance with the code. I think the parking stalls have a certain measurement by comparison to the landscaping, and we're aware of that and we're going to comply with it as well.
Is there an issue still with the water detention pond, or is that that been resolved?
I believe that's been resolved, Jason, but
You just moved it and it's back to the screen, so I don't know what to do.
Talking to us, Taurus?
so
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
okay. So we believe that issue's been resolved, but we'll make sure that staff has reviewed it and made to the satisfaction of what we need to do in order to accommodate approval through them on the site plan issue. And we're anticipating that potentially we might need to put it in galleries instead of a detention basin, but we'll work through that issue as well.
Okay, thank you. Any other commissioners have any questions for the proponent? Okay, sounds like we don't have any. So with that being said, we'll be looking for a motion to recommend approval.
Would you like me to present first, Jace?
Oh, yeah, that would be great, Steve. Thank you.
As they mentioned, this is a site plan and architectural review for an assisted living facility there on about 4850 South Midland Drive, just south of, here's kind of an aerial, just south of the new academy that's being built there on 48 and 35 in Midland. I can get this thing, there we go. So zoning map wise, normally I don't insert this within a site plan review, but I just want to let everybody know it is all zone commercial. This use is on a permitted use within that zone. As for site plan, as you read within the staff report, there are some issues dealing with the DRC, but most of it that you guys need to deal with and look at more of the planning commission or the planning comments, because that's where the zoning code comes into. Of course, the DRC encompasses more than just planning. It does building, engineering, fire, and public works. So all those other departments do look at this and make sure that they meet the other sections of the ordinance. As for planning wise, yes, there's a few items on there, but none of them are significant enough that it couldn't be approved tonight with the condition of it's, all DRC comments are satisfied. To Ryan's comment, the parking stalls are required to be a minimum of 10 feet from the property lines, with that area being landscaped, and that's how they've got it drawn now. And then the building can't be closer than, if it was 20 feet to 30 feet, you had to have a 6-foot masonry wall. And then if it was between 20 and 30 feet, it could be a 6-foot vinyl fence. And anything beyond 30 feet, a 6-foot vinyl fence. So this building is almost, there's some small sections that are closer than, but almost 100 feet away from those residents to the south. I think the developers have done a great design concept here to get not only the building size that they wanted, but also to continue to protect those residents to the south by pushing the building as far north as they could. Landscape wise, again, anything that's not paved building will be landscaped. And then building wise, and I know it's kind of hard to visualize what this is, but really it's just the whole building broken up into different sections. But as you saw with the building materials, you got stone and stucco, hardy plank, which will look like siding, but it is a concrete material. And then they do have some natural cedar that will be used for the posts and soffit. The project by and large meets or can meet the ordinance. So staff would recommend approval of both the site plan and the architecture of the building as stated within the staff report.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Uh-huh.
Any commissioners have any questions for Steve? Okay, so it doesn't sound like we have any questions. So this will be into 2 motions.
Yes.
So we'll be looking for a motion to approve the site plan review. Do we have a motion?
Commissioners, we do need to unmute ourselves. Not you, Chris.
I make a motion that we approve the site plan of the Roy Assisted Living located approximately 4850 South Midland Drive with the conditions put on by the DRC.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Sorry, which one?
Second.
Okay.
Well, I can't hear.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We will now be looking for a motion to approve the architectural review.
I make a motion to approve the architectural review as set forth in the agenda for tonight's meeting.
I'll second.
We've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll move on to agenda item, or thank you, gentlemen, for the presentation, and looks like it'll be a good project for you.
Appreciate the time, everybody.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, can we see if the first agenda item person is logged in? If not, then I may recommend going back to that because we've given them a half an hour now to log in and do, and that way we don't keep
He has
the.
not.
Yeah, so I don't, personally, I don't know that we need to keep the presenter waiting any longer if we've given them a half an hour. I wanted to make sure we had that opportunity. So I make a motion that we go back to the agenda item that was presented earlier.
Okay, we have a motion to present the public hearing item. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we're back to agenda item number 2, which would be the public hearing to consider
So-
request to amend the zoning map from R110 single family residential to R17 single family residential for the property located approximately 4712 south, 4300 west.
So right now you are still open in the public hearing. And without the gentleman that had requested to be able to talk, you just need to close it.
I'll make a
Okay,
motion that we close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Steve, do we do anything else on this one? We can move on to the next agenda item.
Well, if the commissioners have any other questions for myself or the applicant, they can ask them, or they can make a motion on recommendation.
I'll make a motion that we recommend approval of amending the zoning map from R110 to R17 on the property located at approximately 4712 south, 4300 west.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll
I'll
second it.
second. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Nope,
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, roll call.
Oh, this is a roll call. Yeah.
My apologies.
that's okay. Commissioner Callie,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner Brand,
Aye.
Commissioner Felt,
Aye.
Commissioner Bills,
Aye.
Commissioner Mifflin. Annette,
Think she's on mute.
He froze.
I think she froze.
I froze, okay.
Commissioner Spar,
Aye.
Commissioner Mifflin, can you hear me? And going back in, I'll ask her again, but 6-0 right, or 6 to nothing right now. So even if she votes no, it still passes.
Okay, we'll annotate her vote.
When she gets back on.
So motion passes.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for sticking with us for a while. Okay, we'll see, where were we?
Now we're on item number 5.
All right, okay. And item number 5 is consider a request for conditional use approval for David Stewart to use 2.36 acres of land within the power corridor for livestock on the property located at approximately 3248 west, 5700 south. Steve, is it you first, or do we have the proponent?
It's always first.
Okay, proponent, why don't you give us your name and address and tell us what you want us to know?
Well, my name's David Stewart. I live at 3432 West, 5700 South in Roy. And then this is my lovely wife, Samantha. So we are just seeking conditional use on in the power corridor, just east of us. I'm trying to, there it goes. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So our proposal is to allow the use of Pacificorp or Rocky Mountain Power's land underneath the power corridor to pasture our farm animals, our horses. These are the beauties. We have the 2 horses.
I think it's,
What was that?
we only see the first slide.
Oh.
But they're pretty horses.
The small
Well,
piece.
There you
is
go.
it still sharing?
There you go.
Okay, yeah, there's the 2 horses. Here's an aerial view. It's just east of the Lindquist Mortuary, between 5600 and 5700 South. It's just under 2.5 acres. It doesn't look like it's been used for a lot of years, and I grew up around here, so I haven't seen much on there. This is the zoning map. Can you see my cursor?
Yes.
Yes.
We live on this lot just right here, so we're only about 1.5 blocks away from the property. This slide is the site plan. We have already installed a fence around there within that plot, and a gate, a 16-foot gate to allow access 24/7 for the power company. And then also we intend on putting in some temporary shade for the animals so they can get out of this dreadful sun. But yeah, we have full intentions on maintaining the ground, the fence, and we're hoping to just allow the livestock to graze out there. This is a picture of the gate and the fence that's up. It's a no climb, 4 foot tall, pretty high strength fence. We also intend to install an electric fence within that other fence to prevent any damages to that vinyl fence along the residential there on the east side of the property. And yeah, there's the beauties again.
Okay, great. And thank you for the presentation.
Yep, no problem.
So I have a question on the shade structure that you're going to construct. What are the dimensions on that? And Steve can answer that a little bit better, but would that need to fall into something we need to look at?
So we just intend to do something simple, 3 cattle panels with a cover that they sell at Cow Ranch for about $100, but it's a tarp. It wouldn't be a permanent structure by any means, and it wouldn't exceed 12 by 12, 12 foot by 12 foot.
So to answer your question, Ryan, no, it wouldn't be anything you need to review. That'd be something staff could approve. And we put it on there just so you knew that the animals weren't going to be out there all by themselves with no shade.
Okay, any other commissioners have questions for the proponent?
And then right now you're just planning on 2 horses? Because I know the application, the staff report also indicated cows as well. Do you intend on putting both types of animals there?
We would hope so if it was approved. I know that, as Steve has explained to us, that it's approved for up to 6 livestock animals, I believe.
Yep.
So we would like to, with the meat prices rising the way they are.
Okay, any other commissioners have any questions? Sounds like there's none. So it'll be your turn, Steve.
Yep. He kind of took some of my thunder. I think he took my slides too.
Yeah, we did.
That's no problem. Again, just kind of a location of where it's at. It's in between 5600 South and 57. The first one, or the northern 57, not the southern 57. Anyway, just a little over 2 acres. The council had amended the ordinance a few years ago, allowing properties, even though they're not allowed to have farm animals, to be able to use this power line corridor for animals within these zones, and just made it a conditional use for that. The conditions are really that we have the agreement, and that the number of animals doesn't go over the acreage on which they are being kept on, as if it was RE20 zone. So with that, this meets everything that the zoning requires. So staff would recommend approval.
Okay, well, I think it's definitely the highest and best use of the land, so I'm definitely for it. So that being said, we'll need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve the conditional use permit for grazing livestock at the property located at 3248 West, 5700 South.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Good luck with your animals.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 6 will be to consider.
Before we get to that, can I go back to Annette, and because we didn't hear her vote on the rezone.
Right.
Annette, sorry, you're muted, Annette.
Technical difficulties on my end. Sorry about that.
You're fine. How did you vote for the rezone?
Aye. Yes, in favor.
Okay. Now we're on the last item. Yes.
Okay. Move to agenda item number 6 would be consider a request for a drive-up window for Roy Quick Stop located at approximately 4484 South, 1900 West. Is the proponent here?
I just brought him in. Okay, he's muted himself. Amar, can you hear us?
Yeah, Steve, can you hear us?
Yep. Can't see
So
you,
this
but we
is
can
Jeff.
hear you.
I'm here with Amar. I'm Jeff Yeoman, the general contractor.
Hey, Jeff.
And how are you guys?
Good.
We're here to get a request to put a drive-through window. We've gone out and measured it, and from the drive-through over to the curb and gutter, we have 21 feet. And then from the drive-through to the entrance of that, we have approximately 72 feet. And we've got some, I don't know, Steve should have the photos. Do you want to share them, Steve, or do you want us to share them with you?
I'll let you.
Okay. So here's the aerial view, and there's we can fit 3 in. We can fit 1 more behind that green one, and we've got another photo with actual vehicles in it, not drawn in it. So here's a truck, a regular car, and a minivan, and you can see behind the minivan there's still enough room for 1 more to come in without impeding traffic on the existing road there.
Jeff, we don't see that. We just see the aerial still.
Can you see that one there?
Just the aerial.
No, I see.
No, you need to share this one. Okay, can you see that one now?
Yeah, from
Yeah.
the
Okay, so you got a truck in front and then a car, then a white van, and you can see behind the white van, there's still more room to get 1 more vehicle in there. And to the sidewalk, we didn't count the sidewalk. To the sidewalk, there's 72 feet from the front of that truck to the sidewalk. And then in between the store and that park strip, there's 21 feet there. So we feel like there's ample room to put a drive-through window in. Any questions for us?
I have a question.
Yes.
So on this temporary signage you have that just is proliferating over there, I understand that you've been asked to take that down and that hasn't happened. Do you have plans to do so?
Yes, we do, because where the store is now, we're gonna put it to where the truck and the van is. That will be the new convenience store. There will be a permanent sign put up there, and where the temporary sign is now will be coming down.
And I'm guessing that permanent sign will not be an eyesore as are the ones that are presently existing?
No, it will not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So,
Okay, do we have any other questions for the proponent?
this is just an aerial view. If you want to look at that aerial view again, so you can see what it looks like down. So currently where it says the main entrance, that's where their store is now, but we're going to be putting it where the drive-through is now.
Okay. Sounds like we don't have any other questions this moment, so thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
We'll turn the time over to Steve.
Okay. As we navigate through the sharing screen, non-sharing screen. Okay, this is to consider a drive-up window for Roy Quick Stop, located approximately 4484 South 1900 West. Again, kind of an aerial view of where the property is. You got Sparrows up here, and that multifamily development and Orchards at 19th just across the street. I was given 62 feet when I had originally asked. The ordinance just requires enough for 3 vehicles to stack, 1 at the window and 2 behind it. And 62 feet would allow for 3, 72 feet allow for 3. So if it's 62 or 72 to the sidewalk, either way, there's enough space to stack 3 cars, even 3 trucks by ordinance. So with that aspect, they do meet the requirements for a drive-up window. The only concern would have, but it's kind of beyond the ordinance, is if they get really popular and there's 6 cars, you know, how would they stack up? But I think every drive-up window today is experiencing issues they'd never thought they would ever have, other than In-N-Out Burger and Chick-fil-A, who seem to figure out that drive-up windows are the way to go. I don't know. But they do meet the ordinance as of that. For the drive-up window itself, oops, sorry, kind of going through it. Here's kind of the looking from the east to 1900 West on the west. You can kind of see the existing entrance now. This will be where the drive-up window is, where my cursor is coming out, and then 4500 West now. It's kind of what the southern facade of the building currently looks like. Pretty plain. Couple little doors, more of them the secondary access points to what was in there before. And this is kind of what it would look like now. This window will pop out to be even with these columns, so it won't be flat. So we'll give a little bit more dimension, but by adding the windows, I think it just creates a little bit more of an appeal to the building that otherwise isn't there. Even though it does meet the ordinance, even of today, I think the glass will help, not just inside by bringing light, but kind of gives some dimension to the building. So staff recommend approval with the conditions in the staff report.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Do any commissioners have questions for Steve?
No.
Okay, sounds like there are no questions. So we'll be looking for a motion.
I motion that we approve the request for a drive-up window for the Roy Quick Stop at located 4484 South, 1900 West, with conditions as outlined in the staff report.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. I'd like to thank you for the presentation, and since I do visit your store, I'll be looking forward to the new amenities with the drive-up window.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll be moving to agenda item number 7, which would be the commissioner's minute. Any commissioners have any questions or comments for Steve overall?
Nope.
Steve, has there ever been any talk about how long we're going to be still doing the distancing thing?
No. I think with the
Imagine not.
spike in confirmed cases, you know, I think they'd rather take a little bit conservative route and prolong it than hurry back. I know when I walk in my office, I now have to wear a mask. And I hate every minute of it. But, you know, I'd rather be safe than sorry and kind of take it slow. So,
Okay. Any other commissioners? Have anything else? If not, we'll move to agenda item number 8, which would be the staff update. Do you have anything for us, Steve?
not a lot. You got development now occurring over there in Midland and 4,000, both on the north side and south side. There's a lot of construction going on over there. Again, you got the townhomes to the south behind the McDonald's, and then 7-Eleven and AutoZone to the north. Just so you guys are aware, here at the City Hall, we are building official. Ed Fearson left at the end of May. So we're currently have a third party reviewing plans and doing our inspections. Oh wait, it's Ed Fearson with now Sums Coda. So he went to a third party company, and then we did a bid between a couple companies that do that stuff, and the company he went with kind of won. So we still have back, he's just at a different capacity. So it's a little harder to get a hold of him just because he is a third party, not just next to me, but it's nice to have someone that kind of knows Roy and how we operate versus someone who doesn't. But we are looking for a building official. So if you know anybody, please send them our way. We'd like to, it'll be a lot less expensive to have someone on staff than having a third party look at everything. So other than that, I really don't have a lot. Oh, I know that the last time we spoke about the general plan and getting a notification in the newsletter magazine. I missed the deadline, so I wasn't able to put it in July, but I will have it in the August one to let everybody know that it will be online for them to review and make comments of. So at least we can get that going, and then as soon as we get a date or time frame of when we can have a face-to-face meeting, then I'll get another announcement out on that as well.
Okay. Well, sounds like you got it covered, so.
All right.
And we try.
All right, well, we'll be looking for a motion to adjourn then.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
A motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I think that was the loudest motion I've heard from all of you today.
Dinner time.
We like to end with a
The
bang.
heat. Yeah.
Good to see all of you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
See ya.
Mike.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, Brady.